Hello, welcome back to another edition of Hobby News Daily. I'm still Danny Black, but today I'm joined by Aaron, owner of Double A Mint Cards. What's going on, Aaron?
Hey, how you doing? You said you didn't have a fancy intro. I think that was pretty fancy.
I work on my announcer voice in case they ever need somebody for a game show on TV.
Okay. I'll keep you on my short list then.
How are you doing today?
I am well. I'm excited to be here. I've heard great things about this show, and I'm blessed to be on it.
Well, we're glad to have you. We like having LCS uh, shops. I started as a card dealer 30 years ago. I have a very tight relationship with my local card shops for many years. And so when I hear about, people doing different things, the way the industry and the hobby is changing, Fanatics, the Tops Conference, and, all sorts of stuff going on right now in the hobby. And I want to give a shout out to John who hooked us up here. And I promised I would give him a shout out. I was very excited to get to talk to you. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I shout out to John. Yeah, shout out to John. He's our general manager at the shop, and he's always looking out for new marketing opportunities for us and new people to just kind of talk to and spread the word about our store, because it's not your typical shop. So,
So you say it's not your typical shop. I've seen videos. I haven't been there in person yet, although I've told you I'm coming.
Yep.
You have a combination of things that I want to kind of break down. First of all, you are a full card store, so let's not misrepresent that. It's yeah.
We are what we like to call ourselves the Apple Store for cards, where it's a one-stop shop for everything. So we have your wax, we have your slabs, we have your singles. We can do your grading. We can send your cards off to eBay and get half off your eBay fees. We have all of that. So it's not your typical.
Different than the Apple Store, though. Nobody's frustrated and standing around for 3 hours.
No, well,
only if they want to. Only if they want to.
You can when someone's going on a bender and on a couple cases and and they're not happy with what they're getting, then you have someone frustrated for 3 hours.
You Bowman release. How did it go for you guys?
Solid. We had a lot of pre-sales actually on Bowman, so
doesn't surprise me, but it's good to hear for the hobby.
Yeah. No big hits yet. We actually just had a Kaboom hit in store on the other side of the release day of, what was it, yesterday? But a lot of pre-sales of cases of Bowman. So,
are you seeing a lot of excitement just on the products in general right now, as far as like strength of the hobby?
Yeah, there's a lot of excitement, but there's also with Topps Industry Conference a couple of weeks ago. Was it?
Yeah, talk about that.
Yeah, I was there with my dad, and when they talked about the new releases they're doing with football and basketball, it's created a lot of excitement, but also it added a bit of there's a bit of uncertainty with how things are going to go when it comes to what's going to be considered Wemby's true rookie card, what's going to be considered Stroud's rookie. Well, yeah, it's just there's going to be a lot of, like, with the Panini products coming out now, and now Topps is coming out with all this stuff. There's going to be a lot of options for the collector coming very soon.
If you're not familiar with him, I'll give a shout out to Victor, the true rookie specialist. He breaks down the guidelines to what official rookie cards are.
Okay.
And if anybody ever wants a great resource, check out Victor's work. He is the foremost authority on rookie cards and designations.
Okay, I'll have to get his info after this.
And then when people don't like your answer, you can just tell them, go talk to Victor.
Go talk, not Wemby, but the other Victor.
Right, exactly. That's a funny one. He's a lot shorter, actually.
Okay. I think most people are.
Yeah, fair point.
Yeah.
So the hobby's going strong. You're at the industry conference.
Yes.
Takeaways from the industry conference for that I heard, the biggest things are they obviously want stores that they work with to be at a certain level of both a data management and overall appearance. Is that safe to say?
Yeah. So actually, at that exact presentation they did, I was at the urgent care because I wasn't feeling too good at that time. But I got the rundown on it, and essentially, yeah, they want the good shop. They want the good shops to continue, being at their high level, and they want other shops to keep up. And the thing with that is, it's like, well, of course you want to reward the people that are putting in the largest investment. And I think that also right now in the world of LCSs, some people are really stuck in the past, where it's more of a collection that they don't really want to sell, that they're just, they have the doors open so they could tell the wife, like, hey, I'm trying to sell it, but they're really not. Or you have the people who are putting in a lot of money pushing it forward. So it makes sense. It's rewarding the right behavior for the industry where it needs to be.
I agree with you. The only pushback I would give is, I think some of the older stores have relationships that have been built over years, and I'd like to see Fanatics maybe work with those stores more, as opposed to,
Yeah.
I think relationships are important. And over time, I mean, it's a 5-year relationship, a 10-year relationship. And that really grows, when people, I know that if I'm buying something, exactly what store I'm going to,
Yeah.
because they're my place. And I think there is something to be said for that, just to be fair.
Oh, 100%. And the people, the people behind those stores and the experience they've had being in the industry for this long is invaluable. Now, do I think Fanatics? I don't know how Fanatics will reward that, because to Fanatics, it's really, they've been in this business 2 years, so everybody's kind of on an equal playing field. It doesn't really matter to them. It's or at least
So it's really Fanatics that's drawing the dividing line.
Oh, 100%, 100%. Yeah.
Okay, so you're obviously, if there was not even a Fanatics, you guys run a fantastic store, and I want to make sure we cover all your neat assets. First of all, we have Bel Air Sports Cards near me, and they have a breaking bar. Theirs is wood. Can you talk about yours, because yours looked really special?
Yeah, so our breaking bar is made out of quartzite, which is it's essentially like a marble, but it's this really cool, unique green stone, all completely natural, and it spans the entire back end of the store and wraps around into the baseball section. So you sit down at the breaking bar, a member of our staff comes by, puts out the felt pad, you get the top loaders, the penny sleeves, and it's like, what would you like to rip today, sir? And I'll be your card tender. We take it to the nines here, and it's just a very comfortable place to sit down, see the latest releases right in front of you. You don't have to get up to grab anything. And it's actually, we've noticed it's more of a community hub than we thought, like a collector hub, especially, where you have people who meet up in the store, like, oh, I'll meet you at the shop, and they sit down at the breaking bar, and they spend a couple hours just talking crap and ripping some of the cool new products. And it's a cool bonding experience, and to be on the other side of it and just witness it, it's like we built something kind of special. So I'm very happy with that part of the shop.
Well, that, first of all, I love the idea of a breaking bar in general for that reason. And I know that it's something that is coming around now, that people are hearing about it, but there's only a couple stores that have had it the last couple of years. So a shout out for having that. And I do think you're playing a little bit on the hometown colors with the breaking bar.
Have you seen our jerseys?
I have, and
John's idea, by the way. Shout out, John.
Shout out to John, who obviously does not mind a little bit of corny, which is good. I remember the original Florida Marlins jerseys, which were the most Miami-looking thing I've ever seen. And so just the whole color palette down in South Florida, I love.
Yeah.
And so to see your store really made me smile, because getting back to our conversation, I think it's important to be part of the neighborhood.
Oh, 100%, 100%. That's why. Yeah, that's why we went with a lot of the mint colorway. I don't know if you saw our Instagram. We have this sign that says "Welcome to Mint City Breaking Bar." It's a custom neon sign we got. It's very old school Miami. You got pink and mint, and
awesome.
If you're not, you want people to feel like they're at home. A place that was built for them, and each community is a bit different, and what they value and appreciate. down here, it's very much about the high quality experience. Well, the colors as well, kind of emulating that old Miami, but a modern twist on it. It's really cool, and I'm very biased, but it's really cool.
Well, you should be. If you're not proud of it, nobody else will be.
Sure.
You're very tech forward. Talk to me about your wall of singles and how that works,
Yeah. So
as well as you can describe without showing. I know it's
yeah,
easier with the wall.
yeah. So in our store we have about I think 8 grids now. Because we update in the new shop. We have 8 grids on the wall. On the top it's SGC. On the bottom it's PSA. And each grid is about 256 cards per se. And on the top right of each grid is a QR code that you can scan with your phone, and then the entire grid pops up digitally on your phone. And people would say, okay, what's the point? The card's right in front of you. Well, you can go find the card that you like that's on the wall, see it in person, then find it digitally. It'll tell you the price of it. Then you can tap on it and see the front, back. And the back is important because if it's numbered, people want to see if it's like jersey number or something like that. Right. So we have to be very specific with that. And then it will show you the PSA pop report as well. So it adds another layer of data that is accessible to you as the customer. So it relinquishes a lot of questions up front. It creates a cool interactive experience, and overall it looks really cool too.
And the cards themselves are behind glass, or are they flush mounted inside a cutout?
Both. They're behind glass and in the cutout. And at the same time, let's say you see a card that's on the grid. That card is also on our eBay, on MySlabs, and on our website all at the same time. And this is actually patent pending technology here. So if the card sells on eBay, on any one of those other spokes, it gets pulled down. We get a message in store, and we take it off the grid and we send it out. So it's a cool way to showcase a card and also have it in all these other locations digitally.
I love that technology. In my other world, I do some consulting, and I know some other companies that I have the same interest, and I think it's a phenomenal way to manage a collection.
Yeah.
So you can really have multiple stores because you have your online store and your physical store, and you don't have to do what people did and split your inventory.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also for inventory management purposes. It's a blessing. So
now, what's the breakdown for you guys on wax versus singles? Not in dollars, but in what you carry.
Yeah, well, that's changed. That's skewed a little bit more towards singles recently because for the first time ever, we have another bar. I don't know if you saw it. It's another bar that's for bulk slabs, so kind of the lower end slabs.
Okay.
And we just started putting out singles that you can only get in store, raw singles. On the Pokemon side of things, it's huge, and the sports singles. So those have been very popular in store because people know that they can't really find them anywhere else. They're only there.
And it's the idea of a value that people always like.
People love a value bin. I look through it when I'm bored. I'm like, what can I find in here?
I've worked a lot of shows, and the value bins sell consistently. Whether the show's good or bad, the value bins always do well.
Yeah, people love the hunt for it. But anyway, getting back to your original question, I'd probably say with the recent releases, I'd say 70-30.
Which way?
Wax.
Okay. Yeah. And that's with the singles picking up.
That's with the singles picking up, yeah.
Okay, interesting. So vintage versus modern, much more modern for you?
For us, it's more modern. Yeah. We do have a decent selection of mid-range vintage, mid to high end vintage. And people love to see it. It's something that you can't really open a card store without having like a nice Mickey Mantle, not like a 52, but like you know one that's like, oh, the dad can come in like, oh, I had that when I was a kid, and they talk. It's really facilitating that father son experience. So you need a bit of both. For everybody, but mainly modern.
How do you decide? Other than, well, let me rephrase it. Now that you've been open, you have data and statistics to go from.
Yeah.
Before that, I know you're an F1 fan.
Oh.
How did you divide in your mind how much you would put towards each sport in the store, and what have you learned from that? where were you right? Where were you wrong? Does baseball sell more or less? Does soccer sell more or less?
So that's a good question. We had a so this isn't our first store. We had a smaller location about 2 miles away from where we currently are. We opened that one in October of 2021. So
Okay.
the new location was just opened January this year, and it's about 5 times larger. So big jump, and from that jump included a jump in wax wall size. So we went from 16 feet to 60 feet, which is an insane jump. So we had to figure that out. At the old shop, it was more of a what was selling. We just threw it up there, and we didn't really think twice about it. We had our sections, but how do we decide? Well, it's really about cycling products so you have something new for the customer every single time they walk in. And now, if you have two sports that are next to each other on the wax wall, and the product's been here for a while now, nobody's really buying it, but a new football product came out, and the basketball one's a bit older. New football one came out. You kind of make it a decision based off of each product that you have up at that moment. It's not like a set percentage, because if you just stick with a set percentage, it leaves you a little bit too inflexible. I can tell you what ours are currently, and it stays consistent around there. It's probably around 25% basketball, 30% football, 30% baseball, and then everything else lumped into the rest. A lot of soccer, though. A lot more soccer than you think.
Did that surprise you, or did that change when Messi signed in Miami?
It changed when Messi signs.
Okay.
There was a big difference, especially with the new MLS Chrome. But South Florida is an international hub, essentially, so we always had a decent soccer turnout. But there was definitely in MLS specifically, yeah, it was huge.
Yeah, I was wondering about. That was one of the things I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
Was his impact on the market down there?
Oh yeah, I mean every little kid, if they come in with a soccer jersey, it's either Messi or Ronaldo. But now since he signed, it's more Messi than anything.
That's very cool. So tell me, how did you become an F1 fan, and and how does that impact you in the store? Like, do you want to put more out than sells? Do you want to keep it for yourself and not put it out? How does that work?
Oh man, we're getting to the deep parts of my mind here. This is the struggles I go through. So how did I become an F1 fan? I was always a car guy. My dad took me to a lot of NASCAR races growing up. We played weekend redneck, as he'd call it, and go up to Daytona and for the 500, and he'd sneak me into the pit lane. And one time I got like one of the wheel nuts from Kyle Busch, and it was like a whole thing. Security kicked me out because I was too young. But anyway, always a motorsports fan, right? I like going fast. And as a car guy, I got into the European side of things when I got into Top Gear when I was younger. And then from there, I stumbled upon Formula One back in like 2013, 2014. I was maybe 12 years old at the time. I was like, it's just the pinnacle of racing. So I was like, all right, I know I'm going to like this. And then ever since then, I've been just a fanatic of it. So going to when the cards came out in 2020, that was a huge deal for me. Actually, before that release happened, I was scoping out what F1 cards existed up until that point.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And one of those big sets was actually 1992 Grid Formula One.
Okay.
That was a Canadian manufactured set that only came out for 1 year, and I imported a lot of them from Argentina. It was it's like the lengths I had to go to.
This sounds like a movie.
It does. It does. But there's a key rookie.
Importing F1 cards from Argentina that were made in Canada?
In 1992, yeah.
In 1992. Okay, I just want to get up to speed. Go ahead.
Yeah, basically. Because there was no mainstream Formula One product up until that point. So the big card in there, and still is a pretty big card in a PSA 10, is the Michael Schumacher rookie card. That's in it. Or one of his main rookie card. So I'm sure Victor would agree it's his rookie card. And and it that was the big set up until that point. And then 2020 Chrome came out literally like a month after I started doing all this. I was like, oh, well, I'm being heard Not that I was being too vocal about it, but I'm like, okay, someone else gets this. And then since then, it's been like, oh my God, I just can't get enough of it. We had an F1 car at the new store. It was insane.
Do people always assume if you're F1 that you're also NASCAR?
Sometimes people don't know the difference.
Do you tell them that you like to see the wheels?
I like them to turn right as well.
Right. I like right and left,
I like a little bit of a mix. Left is a bit boring.
Right.
Sometimes I have to tell them the difference, or sometimes I bite my tongue because I just say it with a smile. It's like, oh, it's similar, just a little different.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
Okay, so leaving the Topps conference,
Yes.
how did you come away feeling about the future of the industry, the hobby? Positive, kind of what you expected, or totally like shocking, and you never saw any of this coming?
I'd say I'd say I kind of expected this once all of those licensing agreements came up for grabs, and then there was a whole lawsuit. Once all that came about, and once Fanatics started grabbing those single players, I knew they were going to do something with it. They're not just going to sit on that for 2 years, because that'd be a waste. So I knew they were going to do something, and this kind of kicked it all off once they left the Topps conference. It's going to be an interesting next couple of years in this hobby, because you're gonna have sets that normally are great that nobody will care for anymore, and you have sets that are really hyped up and that will just fall like a rock when they release. Like it's gonna be, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's gonna be a little bit more volatile than what we've grown used to, because now we have 2 players in a game that was normally meant for 1.
To be the old man here, I will say the history of the hobby.
Yeah.
Once grading started and you entered that whole other side of the hobby, not just, guys in binders, the drama and the soap opera-ness of the hobby blows me away. It is, there's always something exciting. I never lack for content doing stuff in the hobby.
Oh, I bet. And I don't, from what I heard, you're not one of those like crazy drama, like the interpersonal drama podcasts. So
I haven't revealed any of your secrets. You told me off air. So
that's good. I'm glad the NDA is still in place.
Those are big these days.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. So what do you see as the next year for you guys?
For us?
Yeah. What's a good year? What are you hoping? What's a good year? Where would you like to be if we talk a year from now?
Yeah. So I would, for us, we're still getting relatively settled in the new store. The front of office is great. Our processes are, we're working on our processes and procedures on, how to maintain sort of a standard. And we're coming along well on that. The next thing is moving operations in-house for the online side of things, back office stuff, which isn't really sexy or anything like that, but it's something that will create a lot of operational efficiencies. And then after that, it's going to be our move into the breaking world and sort of getting a grasp of what that looks like and what we can create of that, and how to bring that in-store experience that so many people love onto a online setting, which will be a fun challenge, a fun nut to crack.
We can talk off air about that a little bit.
I would love to.
I love that. I will say if you're going to be doing breaking, you're going to need a lot of caffeine around. So
I didn't say anything about me personally.
Just whoever does it, whoever's doing the breaking, just make sure there's caffeine nearby.
Well, we're in South Florida, so it's called Cafecito.
Yeah, right.
So
we'll Cafe Americano,
Yeah, Cafe Gringo.
Right. Aaron, I can't thank you enough for coming on. We've already blown by. I didn't even realize the time.
Notice it, yeah.
I didn't even notice. I hope you'll come back. This was not enough time. I need to schedule you for a double episode, sure. And I hope you'll come back again in the future.
Yeah, I'm all for it. How about we talk after the National, because I think there's going to be some exciting things after then. We'll have some some industry stuff. The store will be in a different place. I think that would be a good space and time.
I would love to. I assume I'll see you there.
It's Cleveland. I don't know.
You don't know if you guys aren't going to make it
It's tough. It's just on a logistical from a
to
logistical.
cover the store. I mean, this is what I hear from a lot of store owners: is you got to cover the store and go to a show. How do you do both?
Right, and it's not a show that's designed in Cleveland, at least, with a hotel across the street.
Right.
You have to, it's one thing to leave the store, but then it's another thing to have to deal with all these logistical hurdles and getting, an Airbnb half an hour away from the convention center, and then renting a car, and then if you're carrying anything, oh my God, it's like, it's just leave it in Chicago. Just leave it in Chicago. It's so much better.
Well, next year then.
I know, and it's there for 2 years, which I'm really happy about.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Aaron, you are the owner of AA Mint Cards, and on social media, you are at AA Mint Cards everywhere, right?
All across the board.
Fantastic. Well, thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it. I'll see you in the green room. But if anybody is near the Big Guitar Hotel in Hollywood, is that what you call yourself in Hollywood?
Yeah, so we're 5 minutes away from the Guitar Hotel. We're about 5 miles away from Hard Rock Stadium. So
there you go. Make sure you stop by.
Yep. We'll see you soon.
All right. To everybody else, I'll see you on the next episode of HobbyNewsDaily.com. Thanks. See you later.
See everyone.